PEMCAST.
Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. I'm here with Chris Librojo. He is a member of our church. He's on the welcome team, a great dancer, and good friend. So yeah, let's talk a little bit, just a little more introduction, I guess, about kind of just maybe like your journey into PEM, you know, kind of.
Oh, yeah. Where to start? Okay, so like journey into PEM was kind of weird. I mean, you know, like
Sure.
so I knew people from PEM from like college and stuff like that because I had like friends that went to this church and stuff like that, but I think at that time I wasn't Christian at all.
Whoa.
I was like textbook atheist type of thing, type of deal from like maybe like sophomore year of high school to like maybe 2 years ago, maybe last year. I don't know, something like that. But I'm fairly new to the whole Christian thing. But yeah, then I met Grace. What was that? My super senior year of college. We started dating, and right off the bat, like she was just like, yeah, like what she wanted in a relationship and stuff like that. And like the main thing that she wanted was like a Christian boyfriend, you know, partner. And I couldn't give her that for like maybe like majority of our relationship. But I think what triggered it was, I think it was like when lockdown started with COVID, because like I feel like the majority of my life I was kind of like going at like 100 miles per hour.
Wow.
Not really taking the moment in, you know what I mean? And
I feel that.
I feel like that happened with everyone, right? Like like that whole pause, and then in that pause I sort of found myself like, I asked myself that question, like, what am I exactly living for? You know, what is like determining my decision-making skills, like what's right and what's wrong? And I realized that since I didn't have that compass, I was like hurting a lot of people along the way. So like having that while like people are not doing anything, spending a lot of time in my room, just like thinking in my head, I felt like the massive void. And yeah. And then I guess just one day it just kind of broke. It just kind of snapped. Everything just clicked, right? Because like up until that point, like, yeah, I was going out to PEM. I was meeting everyone at PEM, but I was pretty much just going because like it was Grace.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
I had that separation, like, oh, this is Grace's people. And it's not like I didn't care about people, like the people who I met at PEM. It's just like I care for them because Grace cared for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's how it was for like the longest time. And I mean, me and Grace, like, because like we had those differing views, it never really got in the way. Maybe it did. Maybe we did have fights about it and stuff like that. But it never really got in the way. So like it never really rushed me. So it's kind of weird that like I wasn't rushed in the time when the world kind of stopped.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's when it sort of picked up. And yeah. And then, you know, once everything clicked, I wouldn't say like I had like this profound epiphany or something like that. It just clicked, and then I read a lot. I started reading books, and things just started making sense to me. And like I was like textbook skeptic at that point, and I was trying to disprove everything, and I couldn't find anything. Like there were no holes. And for the first time in my life, I'm like, yo, like there's no holes in this. And it was weird because like I would always like, it's not like I would like judge people who are religious. It's just like I would had that mentality like, hey, if that's what make you happy, that's what make you happy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So. Yeah. So once everything started clicking and I started reading and stuff like that, like everything just started piecing together. My life, I felt like my decision-making skills were becoming so much better.
Wow.
So much less selfless, I think. And yeah, and then I think it all just culminated when PEM restarted that first time.
Right.
I was super nervous.
Definitely. I remember that.
Yeah, I was super nervous because it was just like, I didn't want to walk in there, like not seeing anyone for like a year. With my hands up, praise the Lord type of thing. Because I felt like people would be like, oh, like
what happened?
And I always had like this fear that like people would be like, oh, dude, he's just putting on an act to like please Grace or like make Grace happy. But it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my parents, because like I told them about the whole thing. I told them like, yo, like Grace didn't really have that much to do with it. And that's kind of like a nice thing because like
it is.
If anything, she like my analogy is like she put her foot just in the door to keep it open.
Right.
And just took her foot out and left it open.
Yeah.
And I'm just chilling by the door, just waiting, just looking in, peeking in here and there. And then it was me that sort of opened, well, not me, I would say him.
Sure, right.
That door and I walked through.
But it wasn't like, oh, all because of grace or anything like that.
Yeah. And then it's weird because like thinking about going to PEM now is so much different than when I used to go to PEM before.
Yeah, man.
Like even the building in itself changed. Like,
feels different.
Like, I guess like the way to describe it is like when I walked in before I found God, like it felt like someone else's home. Like I'm here to like, I have to like sit up straight,
like you're a guest.
Put on a good face.
Yeah,
like, put on like a good face to like please people and to like make a good impression. But when I went back there after finding God, like bro, I just felt like, oh dude, like this is my place. You know what I mean? And it was, yeah. And then from then on out, like I said, okay, I want to become a member.
Yeah.
I want to make this like a thing, you know, because I have like a tendency to like pick up things, interest, and sort of discard them after a couple months. So I was like, I need to commit to this, you know, and yeah. And now PEM, like I look forward to it every Sunday.
Dude,
you know,
what
just
the
like
heck?
talking with people.
Yeah.
You know, the sermons that I'm hearing and stuff like that, and then applying the sermons and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of long, but yeah, that's how.
Dude, that's beautiful, man. I actually don't
PEM.
think I ever asked you this question before.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of our relationship was through the fact that my wife is like such a good friend with Grace. And then that's kind of how we started. It's like a kind of a weird thing. I think like, you know, Eunice never thought that we would be friends.
Yeah.
But then like, it was like, like we got a dog recently, right? For podcast people who don't know. And like we saw our dog play with a friend's dog recently, and they were like doing so well together. It was Joanna's dog, Joanna and Josh. And we're like, oh, and I felt so like proud. I feel like that's probably how Eunice felt about me and you when we became friends.
I don't it's weird because like before, right? Like I mean, it's not that we
weren't.
just knew each other, right?
Right, you're right,
and we would talk like maybe like in a maze or in a couple small groups together. But that's pretty much it. But yeah, I don't know what happened when it clicked when like we started hanging out.
It was that conversation when we talked about music and dance. I think it's like we mutually had this like moment where it was kind of like, oh, this dude's like, there's more to him than I thought there was. No offense, right? Because I remember, dude, when we first met, I think it was like my first week at a maze when I came back from Boston.
Yeah.
And then I don't know when it was for you, but it was early on, right? And I remember we were in the same small group. I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I mess with him. Like your energy was completely different.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like when I'm thinking about like me before, like it's such a trip because like I even get that when I like go through my phone like and through my photos and I see like before COVID, like dude, completely different person. Like when I say that, like I had no compass on how I made decisions, I literally had none. I was literally just chasing whatever made me happy at that point.
No, I mean, like, even though I grew up in the faith my whole life, I didn't have such a different experience to you. I think the only difference is that I would do things that I thought were right, but because I was raised to go to church my whole life, a lot of that included churchy things. But like, it still wasn't like, I would have to agree with you, man, because when I graduated college, I was like chasing not the Lord, but like whatever made me feel good. And for a long time, church did make me feel good because there's a lot of things participatorily, if that's a word, right, where like it will make you feel good, like, oh, friends, or like, you know, like, oh, like you're serving, or like there's things that like are feel good. It's not has to be God that it's like the only thing that's making it good. So I think for me, a lot of my participation was kind of around there, and I just attribute it to me loving God or something, you know. But
that's like the weird balancing out with like, the whole thing, right? Because like like you want to feel good,
exactly,
but you kind of like have this thought: am I feeling too good to the point where I feel like I'm using it to feel good?
Right.
So I think that's where I'm at right now, like, because it's like it's weird, because like so like once I found God, right, I wanted to talk about it all the time. You know what I'm saying, like all the stuff I'm learning, but then like part of me is like, dude, am I just sounding like super self-righteous? Am I just like trying to show people how good I am? You know what I mean?
I feel that.
Because honestly, we all know we're not good. You know what I mean? But like, I don't want to come off as preachy. I don't want to come off as that I know it all.
Dude,
you know
for
what
sure.
I mean? So, and coming from a background where I didn't really know that many Christians, like my family was raised Catholic, and we're Filipino, we're Catholic and stuff like that. But like, to be honest, like as a family, we really didn't go to church. Like that wasn't really like a focal point.
Sure.
My family is very family oriented, but family was like kind of like our religion, I guess you would say.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the family
moral
comes
compass
first.
is family.
Yeah, the moral compass. It was family, and that's what drove like my parents' decision making skills and stuff like that. But yeah, so it was never really a big part. So like I was always in a tough place because I'm learning so much things and when I'm reading in my room, and I just want to go out and like talk to my family, but like I just feel like maybe they won't understand. I don't want to like push that onto them and stuff like that. Of course not. So like, and then also like my friends, I wasn't really, the group of friends that I grew up with, they weren't really like Christian, you know what I mean? They weren't really religious, and it's not like because we didn't like religion, it just wasn't a topic that we talked about a lot. Right. We really focused on a lot. So yeah, like I want to talk about it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, do I talk about it?
And like, how do you even?
Yeah. How do you even like start that conversation and stuff like that? Because like at the end of the day, I just want people to feel the type of revelation that I felt. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're just trying to share something that's good to you. Yeah, like you recommend a movie you love. Like there's nothing weird about that. Yeah, there's nothing weird. But then like when you start recommending stuff that's deeper, but I guess it makes sense because like when you think about it, like religion is like the foundation of how you think and how you view life. And if you try to like impose that on someone, like there's a reason. You don't know how that's going to fit. There's a reason why there's a lot of pushback in society when we talk about it, because like people have their comfort zones, people have their way of thinking things, and when people try to switch that up, it's just like, okay, like pump the brakes, like let's just chill out here. So yeah, man. Well, I mean, I really feel like Grace modeled it so well for you though, you know, like she just was consistent in herself. Yeah. And then didn't impose, but like you said, right, it wasn't you or her, it was God who ultimately. And that's what I'm super thankful for. Like she didn't really, she could have easily, bro, just like rushed me. Sure. Could have easily just been like, hey, like, do you feel it, Mr. Krabs? Like every other week type of thing. But she didn't, bro. And like there were times where like when I was on society, when I was working in society and stuff like that, we had rehearsals on Sundays. And I would go to PEM and I would dip early so I can go to rehearsal. Yeah. She could have easily been like, no, bro, it's either you go to PEM or you go to SOC. Like, which one? You choose one. But she was like, hey, listen, like, if that's what you got to do, you got to do. You know what I mean? And she never really rushed me. And she was like the one person that was like there. Because like, think about it this way, right? Like, so when I found God, right, my whole life view kind of shifted. Wow. So like that kind of put me in a really vulnerable spot. And I wasn't really comfortable talking to like a lot of people at PEM about it because like at that point I really didn't have that deep of relationships with them, right? Yeah. And then I couldn't talk to my family because they wouldn't. You don't share that. You don't share that. I couldn't talk to my friends as well. So like it was literally just Grace, and I unloaded so much stuff on her, man. Like the amount of burden that she took with me during that journey is just like that's like commendable. You know what I mean? And like she stuck through it, and like she supported me the entire way, and like. I was afraid that like, to be honest, like once I told her like she was going to be like, yes, let's do it. Let's go. Like full speed ahead type of thing. And I feel like that would have personally made me uncomfortable. Like ramped you into it. Yeah, exactly. But like, she was just like, you know, just like talk about it, how it just formed naturally. That's why I'm confident to say that like, it wasn't Grace who like converted me or like forced me to do this. It was like my own decisions, right? You know, my own agency that made me do this. So yeah. That's why I feel like it's my journey. It's just had a lot of key players in it that I'm thankful for. But yeah, dude, that's really something, man. And yeah. Again, I didn't really know this like in depth. Like all I knew, this is my side of the story, right? This is what I experienced. It's pretty funny that you were like at Emmaus. And I'm like, who's this punk? And I'm like, she's good friends with like Eunice. Grace. What? You get me. Yeah, I get Eunice's good friend Grace is with this guy. I think he's a punk. I don't know how I feel about that. Whatever, right? And then like a few years later, suddenly like you come out to church more, and I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm like, oh, maybe I was wrong about this guy. I don't know, right? And then one day I get this like you showed up by yourself, I think. And I remember I was like, that made a big deal out of that. Bro, I was like, that was so nerve-wracking. You remember that? Bro, tell you me sat behind us. No. Tell me how. The first time I go to PEM alone was the time that Grace's mom came to PEM. And I didn't know Grace's mom at all, bro. So on top of going to PEM by myself, I had to introduce myself to like Grace's mom. Dude, I was so like, I'm just glad that people knew. It was so funny. Like I think people found out that I was going to PEM alone. And then people would hit me up like, "Hey, do you need someone to sit with?" Because Grace is not there. I was like, "Oh, dude,
that's so
helps."
sweet.
Yeah, but
I was not that sweet. You showed behind me. I'm like, "Oh, hi, Chris."
but yeah, I mean, that was going to PEM alone. That was like a big thing. But
yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, but that was I'm sure that was a great look for the family too on that
I hope
too.
so, right?
Yeah, I'd probably pay it up. Right? You know, I mean, yeah, but that happened, and I remember like a little further down the line, towards our wedding. Right, and all that crazy stuff. We asked you to dance for it and stuff like that. I think that's kind of like what kind of began,
because
like an actual relationship for us. Everything
we would
was
hang out. Yeah, we would hang out alone. Like we actually had like time where it wasn't like, because like I think before, like if we were to hang out, right, it was pretty much just like Grace and Eunice hanging out, and then we're just like the auxiliary pieces.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
we kind of were, man. We're like, so hey, what's up?
Yeah, and then like I think the minute that we got some alone time to just like talk and like get to know each other, I think that's where it kind of because like I think how I like judge character is if like I can have like a conversation with that person for like an hour and not feel uncomfortable, and I feel like our first conversation alone,
that one went long, man.
It went long.
It was in this room in a completely different configuration.
Yeah,
and we ended up like dancing for like a while, and it was so
That's why you asked me to do a podcast. I was like, okay, sure, why not?
Yeah, right.
Like honestly, like I didn't prepare anything to talk about because I knew that it was just gonna be like
a usual talk.
Yeah. Just like microphones in our faces, but
and camera, whatever.
Yeah,
doesn't bother you.
Yeah,
doesn't bother me.
But I think it's just weird, right? Not weird, but it's good. I'm grateful that.
Dude, me too, man. I mean, like in a short amount of time, I think you've become like one of my closest friends too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like I think you're one of like my closest brothers at PEM. So it's just, and it's nice that like to the point that this house is like a second place for like I feel so like comfortable.
Yeah, man.
House, you know what I mean?
Show up in sweats. Why not? Let's go.
So, I mean, that's pretty much it,
And I feel that, man. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, enough about us, right? I think a big thing and a big reason why we also wanted to have you on this podcast too is because, you're sharing some visions you had, man, that you wanted to kind of like begin and do for our church, and man, it's some really cool stuff, and definitely wanted to give you a platform to kind of just express some of that as well.
Well, I don't really know how much to express because, like, to be honest, right, it's still a goal for me.
Exactly.
Right, but I think I'm still thinking about it heavy, right? Because so I guess the idea is like I wanted to sort of, I know like PEM had reached before, but I think I really wanted to like make a new dance ministry, like just because like God now is like a big thing, is like who I am now, and dance was always, since like I was like, maybe I started dancing when I was like super little, like at family parties and stuff like that. And it was a big thing for me in high school and college. It was pretty much my identity. Like at like in my high school, I wasn't really known as like when they would say like, oh, do you know Chris? It's like, oh, Chris who? It's like, oh, Chris the dancer dude. And it's like, right. So that was sort of like, it was kind of embedded in my identity. And like there's good and bad in that, but like I've wanted to sort of figure out a way to mold it. But I feel like reflecting on it lately, like it's really hard. You know what I mean? It's really hard because like my thought is like dance is such a weird art form because like it's so vain.
Right.
It's inherently vain. Like I told you this before. Like if you just look at dance as just like something, right? Like you have like people do it in front of a mirror. You know what I mean?
Right.
And to be honest, a lot of the industry now is very sexualized, right?
True. It's
like how you portray yourself. You know, when people go to auditions, they want to put on the best clothes. Like dance, fashion, and how you dress is a big part of it. It's like 25% of what it is, you know, of that culture. So it's very vain, and it's tough because like before, that's all I was. Like dance was just a vehicle for me to stroke my ego. You know what I mean? And that's why I started dancing. Like I started dancing to impress people. I started dancing to gain, you know, notoriety, or I don't know, fame or something like that. And that's why I started dancing and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to juggle and try to figure out, because it's a very tight lane. Right. I feel like.
To get it right.
To get it right. Yeah. Because I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was just sessioning in my room, just like dancing or whatever. And I tried to be like, okay, I'm going to try to choreograph a piece, like a piece to like a praise piece, like a
Right.
piece for
It's like
God.
to like worship through, yeah.
And it was actually like a Christian song, and it was dope.
Uh-huh.
And then I found myself forgetting totally about what I was doing, and then thinking, "Yo, does this look dope? How about this?" Like looking at myself in the mirror, like, how does this look?
Yeah.
Are people gonna like this?
Exactly.
People gonna like that? So it's such a balancing act. But I feel like that's like a beauty that I want to figure out, that I want to find that answer with people. You know what I mean? So
Totally.
I think that's why I don't think it should hold me back. I just think it just makes me just think a little bit more and be a little bit more intentional behind it. But like figuring it, like I don't have that answer, right? And I don't want to like, and personally, I don't want to start this thing and be like, oh, Chris, he's a leader of this dance. Like, I don't want it to be any of that. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be like, because like I've directed a team before, and like to be bluntly honest, like nothing that they did at all, I failed at that. You know what I mean? Like that's one of my failures, and I take that to the chin. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I didn't do well in it. You know, I got lost along the way, and I don't want that to happen for something this important and stuff like that. So I don't really want it to be like we're a dance team, we're going out to compete, because like it's so easy to get lost.
Exactly.
In that, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just forget what you're doing it for. And what I want, I guess my vision, what I have right now at least, is like I want to find that answer that I was talking about, where that lane is, where like we don't stroke our egos anymore, but we're just praising God, and how to avoid thinking like that, right? But then also like dancing dancing is just like, it's a super vulnerable space, because
Totally
like
is, man.
like you take anyone, dancer or non-dancer, if you put them in front of people and you ask them to move,
it's weird, man.
It's super vulnerable, and I feel like that vulnerability can translate to like fellowship really easily.
Yeah, man. There's definitely a lot of, and there's so many, and this is like, this is the crux of like probably our deepest conversation, is the parallels between music and dance are just like bottomless. And for those people who are listening who don't really know much about either of us, I'm a musician through and through. That's really what that's my identity. If people ask which Peter, they say, oh, the music guy, right? So, as somebody who follows that professionally, I find a lot of similarities, man. When I was in college at Berkeley, like there were so many times where I'd be like, man, I feel like everyone's just trying to look cool, like learn the cool lick to be cool, or like the cool genre to be cool, or like whatever. Yeah. And I found myself getting caught up in that. And like, I never got into music to be cool. I got into music because I was emo, and like I had a lot of like emotions, and I didn't know how to emotionally, maturely express them. So I just, sang emo songs. It was back in the early 2000s, so you know what it was like then. But so imagine me now. I'm around all these like R&B heads, and I'm like, oh, that's so. I'm trying to like learn it. Anyways, yeah, I really feel that, and I really feel that there is a fine line. And actually, for the past year or so, I've been trying to find the same answer in the parallel universe of music, and how we can really figure out the art to worship God rather than the art to worship ourselves, right?
Yeah, because that's what's so weird about any art form, right? Because like it's weird, because this is like you're trying to make something to look cool for other people, but like why? You know what I mean?
Right.
And like it's like a slippery slope to get yourself into, because like you're just striving for like approval for something that's totally subjective, right?
Yeah.
And that's like it can like drive you crazy, and like it can kind of make you forget like why you're doing it. And that's why like I feel like it's so important to like think about it a little bit. You know what I mean? Just like figure out what exactly like the vision is, and like why you're doing it. And I feel like that doesn't just have to happen when you're say that you're making a new song or making a new piece, right? Like you just have to sit down for 5 minutes and then think, right? Okay, what am I doing this for? And then go at it. No, it's like you have to think about that. That has to like run parallel to like when you're creating, which is weird, because it's like
it's a different headspace.
Yeah, it's a different. You're trying to juggle your intentions and your creation at the same time, and like one can. It's like a tug of war, right? Because like it can go one way, it can go the other way. Because like say that you think about it too much, then like your creative flow is kind of hindered because you're thinking it too much, right?
Get in your head, yeah.
But then you go the other way. You want to be creative. You let things flow. You might sort of get into like a place where you're just doing it to serve yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like there's like in between there where you're I feel like it has to be a little bit more creative, right? But then also has to have like a nice leash on it where you can just sort of tug it back a little bit. But you kind of have to do that at the same time. Like every time you step into the studio or the lab or whatever you want to do, like just like, I mean, you can like pray and just like reset your mind, remind yourself like why you're doing this, and then go for it. And then when you're done with that session or something like that, taking it back, okay, what did I actually do? You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's actually that I can take out of the studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a tough thing. It takes a lot of thinking to do. And it's because for me, like, I'm not trying to say like I'm the best dancer, but dancing always came natural to me. So I never really gave it a second thought when I started dancing. I just let my body go.
Right.
But I feel like, I mean, eventually I want to get to the point where I can let my body go and I'm confident that I'm doing it like,
sure.
Like, worthwhile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think the difference between music and dance when it comes to this end goal of like worshiping the Lord is there is a very deep precedent of worshiping the Lord through music, right? I mean, what we do every Sunday. So I think it's a little bit more broken in this conversation when it comes to the way music relates to it. But I think even for a lot of musicians in the worship world, what I've been finding is the most common pitfall is that they don't understand what music itself is enough while they understand worship as deep as they do. So they are different and they are separate. They feed into each other, you know, like every rectangle is a square, but not every, or the other way around. You know what I mean? Like, you get me? Yeah. Once they're not the same, both ways. So for me, I spent the past year trying to figure that out because I've been spending a lot of time trying to help musicians who do worship become better musicians so they can worship better. And the word that always pops back up is excellence, right? Like excellence, but you gotta define that. Like what does that mean? Like, does that mean that I play like sexier licks, or like, you know what I mean? Like a better stage presence? Like, what is excellence? And so I always like tout that word, but like to really be able to define that took a long time. And what I've finally broken it down to though, right, is it's freedom, man. Like, yeah. If you have freedom inside the craft of the language, because music is a language, like through and through, right? The same way I would say dance is a language. It's the freedom to say what you want to say, how you need to say it, that really gives you the space to worship well, right? And then the conversation goes at length when you want to talk about how that relates to a congregation too, which I think would be its own podcast in its own right. But I think as far as the equivalence with dance would go, right? It's really about, because you know, when you taught me how to dance, it does not come naturally to me, man. Like, I'm a momchi. Like in Korean, that translates like I have no natural like fit moving ability, right? Which is why when I asked you a bunch of stuff, like I have this like freaking like ocean of knowledge about music, and I'm like, how do I channel that into my body, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have the perfect foundation. Like you have a good sense of, like, honestly, I don't have a good sense of rhythm at all. Like, it's weird because like people think, oh, you're a dancer, you got a good rhythm. I don't have a good rhythm at all, dude. Like I just know how to just have fun. Right. I know how to like, I know like what I am comfortable moving with, like, and I know like what can make the audience go, ooh, you know what I mean? That's it.
Sure.
Like I'm not talking, I don't want to like make it seem like I'm talking up here like I'm like some seasoned dancer who has like a lot of experiences. Dude, I don't have like a lot at all, dude. Like I wasn't trained like formally, you know what I mean? Like I don't, like a lot of dancers, they go by counts, how they teach and stuff like that. Whoever went to one of my workshops, I never do counts. I'm just doing, oh, you hit, oh, it just sounds like, because like I'm super just like laid back with it. And like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like, but I want that freedom that you're talking about, right? So like that freedom. But it's weird with dance because like you kind of restricted. I don't know if you agree. Like you're kind of restricted with freedom when you dance, right? Because like when you make music, you make it from the ground up. You know what I mean? You can make it whatever you want. But when you dance, like you're given a box. And I'm not saying it's a constrictive box, but it's a box.
You enter a room. Yeah. And that room is the music.
Yeah. Like if anything, like making music, you're building the house. Right?
Yeah.
Dance is you go into a room in that house and you furnish that room. Right. I mean? So like there are limits to what you can do. Like you're not going to dance to a fast song super slow. I mean, I guess you could. That would kind of actually look really awesome. But like, you know what I mean? Like, there's some limits that you can do with dance. And like, I think that's one of the biggest struggles with dance. And I think that's one of the pitfalls that I fall into, because like, I feel like I can't really, like, I get super self-conscious when I'm in this room. I put something here, I'm like, it doesn't look right. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why, like, you know, as long as I've been dancing, I know a lot of dancers, they make concept videos and stuff like that. But I've never made a concept video, because for me, like, it's hard for me to see a piece through. Like, the only time I ever see a piece through was when I had to put it in a set for a performance, and I have to. Because if we don't, then we don't perform. Yeah, there's a deadline. But like, for me, like, it's hard for me to see things through, because like, I just get caught up in that in my head where I'm like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? And does this look good? You know? Yeah. Like, how do people who I respect, how are they going to see this? Are they going to like it? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, man. You know, when you taught me dance, though, it opened my eyes to a lot of different things. And maybe this would be an interesting perspective for you to hear, for a guy who went into it without ever having that specific setback, because it was never a part of my identity in that way, right? But what you did unlock for me in our conversations, man, was like, I really like to dance now. It's fun, man.
It's fun.
Yeah, it makes me feel like I'm able to say the things that I've been feeling, you know? And I think that alone is enough. Like, I have zero interest in learning some choreo or like dancing in front of people or whatever. But man, if I'm just in my kitchen and I'm like making eggs and like someone like sings a song, like I'm like, hey, like,
it's a full body experience.
Yeah, man.
Bro.
Like, you're able to engage with it like on such a deeper level. And you're right, it's more vulnerable, but you feel safe in your vulnerability because you have a certain foundation, so you don't feel like a complete idiot. Because I like, while the mirror is vain, at the same time it's sobering. It connects you to reality, right? So like, whereas before, I think the fear of moving however which way I wanted to was that I wasn't sure how this thing was coming off. Like, I might be having a great time, but I might be making like a complete fool out of myself. But when I kind of got some of those basics down, what it kind of made me feel was like confident to just be free and within these boundaries. Like, I mean, like, I use this analogy a lot, but like poetry is not like the lack of knowledge of a language and then you just like haphazardly throw words together. It's like a mastery of a language, and then you blend it and you make it whatever you need, right? So like, you need to know something to make something. Like, you need certain foundations to then make and speak freely in it. Fluency comes from knowing a lot of stuff. So I feel like for me, I just needed some foundations. And when I had that, suddenly a lot of what I knew with music was translating into my body.
That's good, bro.
And it was like super dope. And actually, it made me a better musician when I'm able to teach people now. Like, it drew a lot of things, like connected a lot of dots for me, right? So I was really encouraged, man. And like, I have a lot of faith in your teaching ability. And also, I would give yourself more credit in the way you're talking, because man, like, you're somebody who, when I believe you revealed to me, like, man, you're considering professional dancing at, you know, like a pretty serious point in your life not too long ago even. You know?
And I guess that's one of the things that like that does get me a little self-conscious, because like I grew up thinking I was going to be a dancer,
for sure.
And I always saw myself, but then like I was talking to Mej at the wedding. We had like this really deep talk about the feeling of the process of giving up like a dream, you know what I mean? Because like, for me, I had to sort of do that, because like I had to realize that like I didn't have the same passion that I did when I was younger when it came to dancing. You know, I came to that realization that like, I don't want to do this for my life. You know what I mean? As much as like it was a part of my life, like I don't want to do this for my life. But I feel like it was because I didn't have anything going in my life at that time. You know what I mean? Like anything to dance for. Because I think subconsciously I knew like, okay, I become a dancer or something, I do it for a living. Like, what am I doing it for? It's going to either evolve into I'm just doing this for money, I'm just doing this for likes. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I had to like sort of think about what made me happy, right? Fast forward, I found God and stuff like that. And now I feel like meshing dance and my newfound faith, like I feel like that's where I want to take dance. It's just like, I don't need to take it seriously, right? But it is a serious topic, you know what I mean? Because like dancing for God is, I think, so much worthwhile than dancing for a paycheck. It's so much more worthwhile dancing for likes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I want to go, but I have no idea like how it's gonna go because like I haven't danced that way ever in my life. You know what I mean?
It's new.
It's a new thing, and I have so many habits when it comes to dancing now embedded in me, and they're habits that are grounded in something that doesn't involve faith. So it's kind of like stripping myself of those habits, restructuring it in my brain, and then applying those habits. So it's just like a lot of thinking that I have to like reflect on, that I've been reflecting on and stuff like that, because but I feel like it'd be such a beautiful thing for people to do that. Like people would know, like I want to answer those questions, not with like the best dancers at PEM. Like I want to answer those questions with every single person at PEM, because I feel like those answers translate into something that you can carry on in anyone's journey, you know, with God. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It just allows like another way that you can talk to God. You know what I mean? And who wouldn't want like another way to talk to them? You know what I mean? And it's, I don't know. And I want to take that journey with people, because I feel like for a while, because I had this thought for a while, like, oh, like now that I found God, like I want to dance for him. And I thought I had to do that journey by myself. But then like, I don't know who I was talking about it. It might have probably been Grace or something, but she said, why don't you just do it? Why don't you just make a ministry or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, that was so foreign to me, because I don't know.
Like that whole concept.
That whole concept. Like, oh, wait, I can do this with other people. You know what I mean? And I can find those answers. And I don't even care if I'm the one who finds the answer. If something clicks, I want to hear it. Like, I want it to be a safe space where we can just say, hey, like, what are you doing? Like, you know, someone hits me up. Oh, are you free around 8? Let's go meet up this place. Let's go session.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just dance, and then we can talk, we can fellowship and stuff like that. And then go home. And then, you know.
Like, it doesn't have to be so official.
It doesn't have to be official at all.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Just hit me up. Like, I'm always down to session, and just doing it with people, like-minded people who like, because like not like doing this journey like with other people, I feel like, I don't know, you can build friendships, you can build deeper relationships, you know what I mean?
Totally, man.
And yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking right now about the amount of people that I know who don't think enough about how they're pursuing things and just kind of go at it. Like, not trying to throw shade, you know, but I've heard like a lot of kinds of musics where they say that this is like worship, but man, this is just baby making music with the word Jesus in place of her. And like, I don't know, like, I wonder how much you really had thought about how it's making you look versus like what it is that you are, you know, communicating. And I feel like with dance, like I've seen a lot of equivalences where like the things that you're worried about as pitfalls, right? Like the fact that you're thinking so critically about them, is really a ray of light, man. Because I think that is a journey that we need to be taking together to really refine what it means to take back a craft. Because like God is the greatest musician, right? Because he made music, but he also made dance. And like, how do we give that back to him, you know?
I think that's just like, I just want to give it back to him, right? But I'm just like, I want to strip away everything that I know about dance and build it up with him at the foundation, right? Because I could easily, honestly, I can easily start this dance ministry, right? So that like this pyramid is like where my dance like experience is. I can really just maybe shave off like the top half, put God in the middle, and make it a nice sandwich. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then like, what's gonna happen then? You know, that doesn't last. You know what I mean? As time goes on, it erodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But stripping it all away, putting God at the very first level, and then building it up from there, I feel like that's the right way to go.
Totally, man.
But yeah, it's just like a lot, like I said, it's a lot of habits, you know what I mean? And like I said, that day that I was sessioning by myself, like I still struggle with it, you know what I mean? I still second guess like why I'm doing this. I still find myself thinking, is this going to look good to other people? You know what I mean? And it should, right? Because dance should make you feel a type of way. It's a visual art. You know, it's for people to look at. Right. But that's how people see it worldly, right? But then it's like, okay, it's hard to like disregard all those eyes that are going to look at your dance and just focus on him.
That does sound challenging. Yeah. You know, that parallel between music and dance in the world of, like I said before, I feel like it is at least to the mainstream side of it, a less broken in conversation. And yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I would love to, dig into that with you on those conversations too. But like you're saying, it seems to me maybe like in part of your vision, what I'm getting from you now, right, is that you're not really necessarily looking to be like, I am standing at like the lighthouse of dancing for PEM and come to me now. But it's more like, let me start a conversation and a culture and like, let's work it out together.
Just to get to know people, just to get to know God, just to be vulnerable.
Right.
Because like, honestly, like dance rehearsals, they were some of the most fun. All my good memories in my life were at like dance rehearsals.
Wow. That's a big statement.
Because it's so fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just so fun getting in a room with people, creating with people, and just like trying different things together and just like seeing where it lands. And there's so much fun in that, right? And I was just like, bro, why can't we do that? But then like it's weird, right? So like dance is like, it's a visual art, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to dance, like, okay, yeah, we want to dance to bring people to God, right? So you need an audience there, right? So you need eyes on you, right? But then like you kind of have to ignore the eyes that you want on you and then deflect it back up.
Oh yeah.
Right? You can't ignore the eyes. You can't, because they're always going to be there. You need them there, right?
Right.
But you can't just look down.
You can't feed into it.
You can't feed in. It's like a black hole, dude. Like it literally is a black hole when you're on stage because you don't see anything because the lights are on you,
right?
And you can just get sucked in performing for those eyes.
Yeah, I mean, if you point two mirrors at each other, then what are they looking at? But if you keep your eyes on God and then you're reflecting Him and they're looking at you, but you're reflecting the Lord, you just can't look at them. And then they keep on seeing God as long as you don't look away, right?
That's a really tough thing to do.
It is hard, though. Absolutely.
It's extremely tough. And
yeah,
it's just...
I don't know if this is in line with dance at all, but in music, I really find a lot of metaphor to what it's like to stand in the heat of the world and tether yourself to the Lord is actually kind of like a metronome, dude, or like kind of like, because if you think about it, you stand on a stage and like what are people there for? They're there to see your relationship with music, right? Like if you're standing up there to perform, like you go see your favorite artist, you're not there like, oh, I've seen your face, I can go home. You're like, let's see this dude's relationship with music happen on stage, right? Like it's like if music was a person, I'm like, let me bring my best friend music on stage, and I'm on there to like banter with music, and everyone's like, oh, look at their friendship, it's so great. And that's what people like, right? If you have no relationship with music and you're standing on stage and then this music dude walks up and then you guys are real awkward together because you don't actually have any face to face, it's like, well, I know Obama, we're buds, right? I've read all about him, I know everything. And then he shows up and I've never said hi, right? It's gonna be really awkward. And I think that's where stage fright comes from. That's where like a lot of this fatigue in worship comes from, is because everyone knows what it looks like, sounds like, is like, but if you don't understand that fundamental relationship with what makes it actually tick, then you fall apart, It
just becomes regular music.
Exactly, man. Because the actions are there. Oh, I just hit on the 2 and the 4. Oh, I just moved. But it's like there's so much set in that gap between the 2 and the 4 that really makes the music move. And I feel like if you don't know how to tap into that and channel it and stay connected to it, right? Then you lose sight. Then you end up looking at the people, and then you lose, your reflective abilities. Yeah.
I get that like 100%.
For sure.
It's just hard. It's so hard because it's such a worldly pleasure to just get approval from people.
Definitely is.
It's just like, it's like a drug. It's just like, oh, dude, like I hear the crowd cheering. Oh, I just want that again and again and again and again. But it's just like, that applause lasts for like what? Maybe like 5 minutes. You go off stage and then you're back to your normal life.
5 minutes is a long time, man, for an applause.
Yeah. And it feels like it feels like a lifetime when you're getting like any type of praise. You know what I mean?
For sure, man.
But then you're taking that for yourself, right? Like,
how do you give that to God?
Yeah, that's like the big question. And that's why like I've been just really thinking about it, because like I want to do it right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I'm not going to make mistakes, or we're not going to make mistakes together, or people don't make mistakes, but like, I just want to do it right, because like it's the most important thing out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And yeah.
Well, we'll be praying through this together, and I'm sure that you and I will both in our lanes find those answers, man. And again, like, it's a little more broken into the conversation on my side of the fence. So, we're already making a few moves. Like, man, like the other day, like we're starting on some recording processes for our church. And I've been so afraid to start that for the very same reasons that you're hesitant, right? Like, what is that end thing and what does that look like? How can I answer these big questions of like, why do we move so hard? Why do we take such a stride? Why do we look for such a stage, right? And it's steep, but
Yeah. But when should you stop hesitating? When do you know that like you're just overthinking it?
And I think at the end of the day, man, the same way it was not you, it was not grace, it was God. Like, I think we have to have faith that God will catch us and direct us as we make these bigger steps. And I think the church will. And there's so many dancers at our church too. Are you kidding?
I didn't know. I was like, whoa,
dude, you're in good company, bro. I think you're due for some good friends.
There's a lot of good movers, bro.
Yeah, you're fine, man.
I think I realized that like last wedding season, like at your wedding, Grace's wedding too. Like there's a lot of good movers here, and there's people, and it's not like, oh, dude, like they're doing like really dope dance moves. Like I remember, I think it was at your wedding, right? And I was taking a break because, I was like on the dance floor like 24/7.
Oh yeah, you were there the whole time.
I had to take a break because my asthma was acting up, right? And I'm just sitting there and I'm just watching people and they're laughing, and they're smiling, and that's all you need. You know what I mean? That's all you really need, just to be comfortable with each other and, getting around in a circle, getting in a cipher, encouraging people, uplifting people. That's all you need. And like, yeah, it's such a great feeling.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's dope. And again, dude, I'm super encouraged, man. Just your story, your journey, and even like these things that you are thinking through, it's all really encouraging stuff. And I'm sure it's gonna, begin like some really worthwhile conversations, and hopefully lead to some really clear and concise sorts of, structures. So yeah.
Those answers are like, I think, prime answers to answer.
Yeah, bro. I mean,
and getting there with people, I think that's the goal, man. Just like doing it with people. Yeah. Spending time with people.
Well, here's your calling card, man. Right out here, so.
Yo, if anyone's trying to cipher, let me know, bro. Hit me up, bro. Hit me up on the Facebook.
LOL. No, but for real, guys, you should hit up Chris.
Because
he's a good hang.
Just dance with me, please. Dance with me. But yeah. I miss dancing. I haven't done it like formally since COVID ended. Yeah, you know what I mean. I miss it. Doing it with like my new family, I guess, would be nice.
Dude, beautiful.
What I mean? And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited, but again, nervous, but more excited, I think. But
yeah. So I don't know. For best way to reach you, if they want to take you up on this little,
just a disclaimer: I'm really bad at answering my phone. Just putting it out there. But I mean, yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, you can just DM me, Facebook me, or something. I don't know if it's safe for me to put out my phone number, but
I won't do that. But you drop your handle.
You can always find me. If you go to PEM, just like find the guy who sits in the back. Find the guy who sits in the back. I usually wear like a beanie or something, but
yeah. What is your handle? Is like Chris Librojo or something, right?
It's Chris Librojo. That was my dancer name, bro.
Really?
Yeah, bro. You want to know how I got it?
How'd you get it?
So CeeLo, right? So everyone's like, oh,
CeeLo Green?
You love CeeLo Green. Right?
Really?
Dude, I hated the dude, bro. I did not like his music at all. But like what happened, right? Because in high school, I was part of another dance team called Inspired, right? And the guy who started it was my good friend. I see him like as an older brother. His name is Chucky, right? And Chucky had this thing where he wanted all of us to have like nicknames. You know what I mean? He made dog tags for us and put our nicknames on the back of these dog tags, cute. Right? I never had a nickname, bro. My name was Christopher. My nickname was Chris. Like, there's nothing cool about Chris, right?
What do you do with that?
Yeah. So I was like thinking, okay, bro, like what's gonna be my nickname? So then like, and I think it was 6th grade, right? My name is Librojo, and it's not even that crazy of a last name, but one of my favorite teachers would just call me Lo, like Chris Lo.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, yo, like, what about CeeLo, dude? And he's like, yeah, bro, let's go for it. And I thought he was gonna do C-Lo.
Right.
But he spelled it out CELO.
CELO.
Yeah, but he made the dog tags already, so I was like, all right, I guess this is my nickname now, bro. But yeah, CeeLo Librojo. I think that's what we were talking about. But
that's so funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's.
It's all because of a typo, huh?
I had a different life, bro. I had a different life. Everyone used to call me CeeLo now.
Seriously?
Yeah.
They actually just called you
Everyone
CeeLo?
in the dance community like called me CeeLo, and like now it's weird when people call me CeeLo. I think there's one or two people who still call me CeeLo.
Uh-huh.
I think it's Chucky still calls me CeeLo, and
That makes
my
sense.
friend Paco still calls me CeeLo.
Wow.
So it's refreshing when I get to see them because like, and some other people call me CeeLo. Like
Sure.
Here and there, a handful of people, but
Uh-huh.
I go by Chris now. If you call me CeeLo, it'll give me like kind of like goosebumps.
It's like your born again name or something.
Yeah, right. But
Chris. Like
Yeah.
Christ. Yeah.
I like Chris though.
Chris is good. Chris
I
is
like
good.
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris sounds like Grace. So then like whenever someone's yelling for Grace, I
Dude,
kinda
so true, man. Yeah, even here. Half the time I'm like calling the wrong person. Well, thanks so much for coming out, Chris. Really appreciate you giving your time here. Really
Always nice talking to
always
you,
enjoy
Peter.
conversation
Always enjoy it.
with CeeLo.
See?
Is it gonna stick? Maybe not.
No,
Yeah,
probably
probably not. Probably not.
never,
Yeah, it's all good though. Yeah. Yeah, but guys, seriously, you should reach out to Chris. And you know, get those conversations started. I like to have a chit chat, so I'll probably be there too. Yeah, and then we'll see where it all takes us. Thanks again, man, and love to see you around. So
I'll see you around.
yeah, all the time.
All the time.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.